Hey, how's it going? BobbySapphire here with the Hyperloops. Doing a shuffle tutorial video. This isn't to teach you, I assume you know how to shuffle. This is more about competitive shuffling etiquette. Here I've got a 30 card deck, double sleeved, and I want to go through the ways that I shuffle my deck, some ways that I have and haven't shuffled my deck, and then how I shuffle my opponent's deck, which I think is a completely different thing. So one of the best ways to randomize your cards is to riffle shuffle. And one of the issues with doing it the most simple way, and this is more simple when you have double sleeved cards like I do, is that it's easier to separate them the long way the short way rather than it is the long way. They just don't have as much bend. And what I find an issue with is if you're not playing in the top cut and your opponent doesn't know your deck list, the easiest way is to sort of like flash them a bunch of your cards, which generally you don't want to do. So one of the things that came up in the shuffling scandal from San Diego Regional is that dude was shuffling with his cards face up. And I will actually, to start my shuffle process, do a few of these with the cards facing me because I want to get this randomization in. I keep my eyes up. I know you can't see my eyes right here, but I do keep my eyes up and don't look at the cards. And I still do a ton of shuffling after that. But I do think that that's the best way to randomize. And I just, it's much harder to hide. You can do it. And what I do is I'm like taking half, putting my finger in the middle. You can put it up against your body, but it's still a little tough. This is a great way to do it without anyone seeing. But again, the cards don't bend as well that way, especially when they're double sleeved. So any of these riffle shuffles, and like you'll see that it messes up. Use my body a lot to stabilize. One thing that I never ever do is pile shuffle. You should only pile shuffle once ever at the start of your shuffle process, and you can do this with your opponent's deck too. It's because you want to count and not present an illegal deck. In Magic the Gathering, if you present your deck to your opponent and it's less than 60 cards, it's an automatic game loss. So pile shuffling to count cards is a very common thing in Magic the Gathering. So my process, like I said, is to do these. And you'll see me do several of them. And again, like I'll often have them face myself. But that's not all I do. So the second thing I do is I'm a righty. So I take these in my left hand. And I do sort of this loose drop. And then I keep them really loose in my hand and do a loose drop in front of them, on top of them rather. And I continually, I'll do about 7 or 8 of these loose drops. And what I like about these is it still mixes the cards up, but it doesn't damage the cards in any way. And this is how I shuffle my opponent's deck when they give it to me. If someone, I'll pick up the deck and I'll do this loose sort of thing. It's just, when you riffle shuffle, you bend cards, and I don't care about my own collection, but some people are very particular about their cards, and I would never want to bend someone else's card. So this is my strategy, is I do this like 7 or 8 times, and then I just do like the very basic, these are really just cuts. They're not actually even shuffling, right? Because we're just doing it in the order. And I'll do like 1, 2, 3, do another couple loose drops, 1, 2, 3. I'll even sometimes go one above and then put one below. And that's really just cutting the deck. That's not actually shuffling. And the only other thing I'll do is I might do one more cut like that. So between all the cuts, several cuts, and several loose shuffles, after starting with several riffles at the beginning, I find my cards to be sufficiently randomized. And I think you should be shuffling your own deck in a variety of ways, mostly face down, if not all face down, and being very delicate with how you shuffle your opponent's cards. I know a lot of people just cut, or they like to knock and not shuffle at all. I know in Destiny it's kind of been a sign of people think it's disrespectful. I've certainly gotten plenty of comments about my shuffling of opponents' decks, but I always shuffle my opponents' decks. So you just want to be very careful about being respectful of other people's stuff. That's it.